3 weeks in Texas, touring throughout the state. Why? Because I was with my friend Rick Green. What was it called? It was called the Comedy Constitution Tour. It was magnificent. Many unique people met, many amazing destinations acquired, many patriots jumping on board and realizing that something has to be done to get the ship back in sailing condition and put America back on the map. Well, I don't know who better to do it than me, God's comic, Brad Stine. I know God had to scrape the barrel, but welcome to reality. You are now watching Brad Stine Has Issues. Whitey boy, let him hear what it sounds like. Wyatt, as you know, I've been traveling for 3 weeks, and I'm finally back home live, and I feel like I went through a wormhole, son. I'm going to tell you why. Because normally, when life is as it should be, when we're heading true north, when everything is the way it's supposed to go, and this is Brad Stine Has Issues, brought to you by Christian Podcast Central, the place where all podcasts are centralized so that you can see everything you ever needed to see when it came to Christian podcasts. Plus, they pay me to say that. But anyways, what I was going to tell you was everything was okay with the world. We were in balance. Then I went on the road, started changing the world. I come back, and what do I find, son? A parallel universe where the first person to say hello, Amber King.
Who?
What hast thou wrought, Amber King?
Who are you and what have you done with Nick?
She's the king and has dethroned Saint Nick.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, so far, it's Nick Kress, 57, and everybody else collectively, like 3.
Wyatt, Amber King, which is perfect. She's the king. Guess who came in second? Karen Boyd beat Saint Nick. This is impossible. Something is changing in America. Something, God has intervened. He is coming in to change things because Nick Kress came in third. And I don't know if he's going to be able to handle that.
Nick's the bronze medalist.
He's the bronze medalist. This is absurd. Well, thank you for coming on, folks. This is what I've always dreamed about and hoped for, that once again on a Monday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, God's comic Brad Stine would be with my friends, my family, my fellow felons, and fun, fact-filled freaks. And this is God's comic Brad Stine, and this is Brad Stine Has Issues, where comedy, conservatism, and Christianity collide in a cacophony of clarity. You know what? I was off to Texas for 3 weeks. We still were able to pull off 3 podcasts, even though I was traveling and gone. Son, was it hard not to have me in town?
I mean,
It
there
shouldn't
may
take
have
you
been a
long to-
party every couple hours.
Are you serious?
I mean, I'd invite you to it, but you know.
Wyatt, how could you not have been heartbroken when your dad was gone? What are you going to do when I die? What are you going to do when I die? And you get here, you sit down, you get everything set, and you go, oh, crap, he's dead. Yeah, you laugh now.
No. It would be terrible. I'd hate it. But just imagining me setting all of this stuff up.
Yeah.
Me like sitting there at 7 p.m.
Right.
Queuing you off and then
Right.
being like, oh, wait a minute. He gone.
He died.
Man,
Well,
that's such an easy thing to forget about.
It would
you know?
be. It'd be weird. It would be black humor. Well, listen, I want to tell you guys that I've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to Rick Green, my fellow patriot on the Comedy Constitution Tour. 3 weeks of 15 different cities in Texas. I'm going to talk about it. Rick's going to come on at 7:15, a little bit earlier than the guests. So we're going to get right to it tonight. I'm excited because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that's bothering me. It's frustrating me. It's something I saw on tour, and now I'm coming back, and I'm revitalized, but I need to get back and really tell you what I feel like I'm being drawn to do with the podcast, with my ministry, with my life, with my career, with my comedy. So I want to start with a clip of my comedy. This is an old comedy clip, and the reason I'm going to show you guys this is because this was something that was part of my first album, Put a Helmet On, the one I was most famous for, where the tagline Put a Helmet On came from. And it's a show about saying Merry Christmas. Okay, now it was a kind of a famous routine, and I might have shown you parts of this before. It ended up on Go Fish's album and on their song, Christmas with a capital C, and then we ended up making a movie about it. But I want to throw it out there because this happened to get re-put into the atmosphere. It's only a couple minutes long, and it got huge response. Lots of people. It was around Easter time, of course, and so we talked about me saying Easter used to be Easter break, not spring break. So it got a lot of tractions. But after we see this, I'm going to show you something that somebody said to me in comment so that you guys can see kind of the things that I'm dealing with, things that are kind of bothering me, aching me a little bit, but also spurring me on to what I think I need to do in this next season of my life in America. So Wyatt, if you could quickly show the clip from classic Easter used to be, or spring break used to be Easter, and then I'll get right back and tell you what one of the comments was. Wyatt, can you hit that?
Yeah.
And I do thank God. I'm a theist. I'm a theist. I do believe that there is an intelligent designer. I do believe there's purpose and value in life. And I bring up God a lot in my show. You know why? Because I miss him. I miss God in my country. I miss him. You'll never know these things. You're 16 years old. You've grown up with spring break, not Easter break. You grew up with winter break, not Christmas. You don't know what I'm talking about. That's the world you got. I remember when everybody cared. I remember when people used to say things like Merry Christmas to each other. Everybody said, Merry Christmas! Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Lowenstein. You know why? Because it wasn't about a religion. It was about something as a culture we thought was so valuable that we'd all do it together, even if I disagreed with the religion behind it, because it was good for all of us instead of just me. But what do people say now? Happy holidays. See, I just say happy holidays because I don't want to say Christmas because you don't believe in Christmas, because I don't want to offend you because it's amazing. This overuse of the word offensive is driving me out of my mind. I mean, excuse me, sir, which part is more offensive, the peace on earth or the goodwill towards men rhetoric? It's such a disingenuous argument, it's not real. Oh yes, we want to say happy holidays because we don't want to leave anybody out. Really, how come there's a ton of holidays in February? Nobody ever says happy holidays in February, do they? They say what it is, happy Valentine's. Oh, do you believe in love? They don't care. Happy Valentine's is fine. Happy Hanukkah is fine. You see, that's what it's all about. In December, we've got two religious holidays, one cultural holiday, and one holiday that I'm not sure what it is, Boxing Day. Ever seen that? December 26th, Boxing Day. What does it mean? Nobody knows. Apparently, it's the day after Christmas. It must be all the fights we get in returning the junk we got the night before. Yeah, I'd like to return the fruitcake. We don't take it. Happy Boxing Day. But nobody wants to say Christmas, everything else but Christmas. Why? I know why. You do too. It's because it's got Christ in it, and after 2,000 years, he's still intimidating people. You see, when a religious person says, I'm the way, people don't want to hear it. They don't. They don't. And I want to say it to the rafters. I've even seen Christian people not say Merry Christmas. There are people in China right now, Christians, who are in jail because they had a page of the Bible. And Christians in this country won't even say Merry Christmas. It amazes me, the cowardice. That's the price you pay when you're rich and safe. Airline industry still hasn't recovered. You know why? People aren't getting on planes. They're afraid. Think of that. We have traded safety and comfort for freedom. We're going to lose this country if we talk like that. I say you got to say Merry Christmas because it is. You don't believe in it? Fine. But I have a flash for you. Christianity happens to be the religious heritage of my country, whether you like it or not. Christianity happened to be the belief system of 99.9% of the founding fathers, whether you like it or not. Every single founding father said that the Bible would be used as a fulcrum for the laws and ethics in this country, whether you like it or not. And they said it should be taught in school so kids would know where their ethics come from. So if you're not a Christian or you don't like it and you don't want Christmas celebrated, God bless you. But let me tell you something. If you think you're going to stop me from saying it because it offends you, hey, I got flies for you. Put a helmet on.
But that's an old routine. A lot of you heard it. I might have even played it before. Why did we play this before? Wyatt, did we play?
I don't think we finished the entire thing, but we've done snippets for like the Christmas special we did.
Well, the reason I wanted to play that for you guys was that, like I said, it got a lot of traction during Easter, and so a lot of folks commented on it, 1,000 or something. Anyways, so a bunch. But here's the thing that was most interesting to me. I came across just one of the many comments. Now, I'm going to clean it up a little bit because obviously I believe in free speech, so people can say whatever they want. They can curse all they want. They can blaspheme all they want. I kind of believe in free speech. But I will clean it up for you guys. I don't use cursing in my nomenclature, so I'm not going to use it here. But anyways, one of the comments based on that clip was this. Who cares what the effing founding fathers did or wanted? We're here now and have better ways. Like, we don't have slaves and women can vote. Your religious bullcrap keeps you down and in the past. What do you think when you hear that, Wyatt?
I think it kind of sounds like they're clinging on to the past.
What past are they clinging on to, son?
There's only one past. I mean, like, look, man, I'm kind of tired right now.
Okay, so you said they're clinging on the past.
Yeah, the referencing past things that are now no longer a thing, and somehow claiming that they're responsible for it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see.
Yeah.
What so this guy was saying was, and they all do this. This is the very classic leftist style of interaction. I'm not saying communicating because they don't. I'm not talking about dialogue because they can't. I'm not talking about insight because they don't have it. I'm not talking about depth because there is none. I'm not talking about insight because they wouldn't know what that meant. We're talking about a very superficial agenda-driven ideology designed simply to control and have power, all the while claiming that everybody else wants to have power and have the ability to oppress other people. Now, this is, as I've said before, institutionalized narcissism. People that claim that you are doing to them what they're doing to you is narcissism 101 plus. It's gaslighting. So it's obvious. I see through it. Doesn't matter because the woke corporations don't care. School boards don't care. They want this taught to children so they can control the kids. And they send them back to your house, no longer yours. That's what's happening in America. And this is really what I've been kind of trying to navigate recently was the darkness of the left, the way they treat and engage people they disagree with. And we all know this. I'm not showing you anything that you haven't all endured. Many of the people that watch me, not everybody, but many of the people that watch me are conservative, Christian, patriots, First Amendment, Second Amendment believers, originalists. And so you're used to this style of confrontation and malicious attack. So it's not shocking to me. It's nothing that I haven't seen a million times. And it's not even something that really cripples me because I know what it is. I'm not offended by those who are too fearful to say something to your face that they'll say on the internet. And I certainly am not driven or in any way defined by what somebody who I don't even know, even if I did know somebody, what they say about me doesn't make me who I am. But it does bring up the idea of culture, of America, of what we've become. We are polarized. We are in clash. We are in absolute disarray in the ability to communicate, to have civil dialogue, to be kind, to in any way respect someone else. it's just simply has become the absolute go-to for both sides, I will say. A lot of times conservatives or Christians will take an attack that they don't like, and they'll turn around and try to attack back. And sometimes it's with some sort of claim, yeah, well, you know, you'll find out one day when you burn in hell. And it's like, it's not the best way to navigate eternal punishment or utilize that in a positive way. Hell should be something that simply is so fearful and such a sobering reminder of the fallenness of the human that we want to get out of it. And of course, God gave us a way to do that. But here's the deal. Those who don't believe in that, those who've jettisoned God, those who've replaced God with a counterfeit, those who've replaced God with an idol, a new God, and everybody has one. We've talked about this before. Atheists are very, very religious people, and religion meaning they have a presuppositional worldview, as we all do. Many of them don't realize it. They don't think they do. They would say they have nothing to do with religion. They don't believe in God. But I'm not talking about religion in equating to God or theocracy or a transcendent ultimate being. I'm talking about religion in the way that what governs their life. Where do their morals come from? Where do their rights and wrongs come from? Where does their expectation of how they treat others? How do they think of other human beings? Why do they have these ideas of the way people should be treated? Where does it come from? And of course, it's borrowed from Christianity. We've talked about this a million times. This isn't rhetoric. This isn't something that I'm doing to try to slip in my point of view. It's simply true. If you are a Western European or American, and a lot of other nations that had Western values, you have Christian values. Now, you don't necessarily give Christ any credit. You don't give God any credit, maybe. Certainly, you may not even be a Christian. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have given the value system, which is human beings are all made in the image of God. Thus, women and men are equal. Thus, children and men are equal. Just men and women and children are all made in God's image, are to be loved, dignified, and cared about. So this is simply a Christian idea. It did not exist in Greece, did not exist in Rome, certainly didn't was not part of much of the culture prior to Christianity. There were certainly class systems. There was Greeks, of course, had slaves. Romans had slaves. Of course, there was a class system when it came to those who were the laborers and those who were the warriors and those who were the elite. And they would sit around and just talk and think and let everybody do the labor for them. And that was their class and that was their value. And so there was certainly a differentiation between human beings' value just by their intrinsic existence and what they did to make a living and survive. So do we have anybody here yet?
Anyone here?
Yeah. Anybody jumped on?
Yep. Somebody jumped on.
Who? Is Rick here?
Yeah.
Good.
Hold on. He was his. Oh, no, he's here.
Okay.
He's here.
So I'm going to need to switch over. So, folks, as I've told you before, I just finished a 15-day tour with Rick Green, and we had a couple interesting people that we met. Here was one. Why show the photo, if you would, and put that up. Here's somebody. Got it? Okay. So as you can see, that's Rick and me and Kirk Cameron. Now, he was there with us while we were at Glenn Beck's studio in Austin. Where is that? It's outside of Dallas, Fort Worth, maybe. I don't remember. But anyways, it's got an amazing artifacts. I actually had a picture of one of Willy Wonka's golden tickets from the original movie. I saw that. I saw the original screenplay of Princess Bride. There were amazing artifacts. Dorothy's costume in one of her ruby slippers from the original Wizard of Oz, an actual guillotine from the French Revolution. So just some amazing things in this museum. But Rick Green and I are great friends. We love together to work. Kirk, of course, has been doing his fireside chats. Rick does Patriot Academy, where 16 to 24-year-olds can come in and learn how to do politics, how to have conservative Christian values and do it within legislatures, how to get bills passed, how to be part of the solution. So that is who he is and where he is, and we're going to bring him on now. Wyatt, do I need to do anything to get Rick on here?
No, that'll happen in
All right.
Quick second.
Then I'm going to switch off to this, right? I'm off of this mic and I go to this?
Yep.
Okay.
I think you might have messed with something when you switched over to Facebook before we started.
Don't know.
Yeah, I think that freezing means that you turned it off accidentally.
Okay.
It's an easy fix.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
Hang on, folks. We're going to get this. Hang on, Rick, as usual.
No
Just
problem,
go
man.
back to remix call.
Where's that, son?
You're gonna have to type it in a new
Oh, okay,
thing.
gotcha.
Yeah.
VMix?
VMix call. CALL.
Yeah, got it.
All right. So the password, I'll give it to you whenever you're ready.
Name? Does that matter?
Yeah, it's just whatever you want to be called.
Go ahead.
625 462
Yeah.
8654.
Go ahead. Okay.
625.
Here we go. This is it. At least I'm here.
Yep.
Okay.
Hold on. Give me a second to add you to the list.
Okay. Hang on, folks. We're going to get there.
Add you.
I see you.
All right.
And I think you turn on your computers now.
Are you there, buddy?
I hear you and I see you.
Oh, fine. Okay. Well, we're getting a little bit quicker than we usually do. But good to be with you. Of course, we spent about 3 weeks together in a bus. It was horrifying, terrible. I saw Rick in his boxers. That's something I never want to see again. The man is just, he has no shame. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But listen, I was showing them
I
the
did
picture.
your laundry. I did your laundry and you still throw me under the bus?
You did do my laundry, and you even touched my underpants. So that's spooky. They actually sent me a picture of pants going, "Is this yours?" And it's like, oh my gosh, please put those down. And,
Wait, I was going to share that picture tonight. Are we not doing that?
Oh. You can if you want. You can if you want. And you also might want to try the the click off and click on thing, because you seem like you're a little behind. I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, let's do that.
yeah, try that and see if that catches us up. But anyways, always excited to have you with me. And I did want to bring you back on. And after our 2.5 week tour, and really just do a decompress of what we just went through, because I think that I don't know about you, and we haven't really talked about it since we got back. But I got to say that it was kind of bittersweet for me, because it was so exciting to see the people that showed up. I mean, we had these amazing crowds of people coming to see us. Where was it? Was Houston had 500 people or something, and we were even in small towns. We had that cowboy church in the middle of I don't even remember, in the middle of nowhere, and they had a good couple of hundred folks show up, and it was a tiny town, and it was filled with Americans and patriots, and the last one was the most it was just, I feel like it was a blessing from God, because it was such a mix of Americana. There was Hispanics mixed throughout, and there were blacks, and there were whites, and there were old people, and there were young people, and veterans and non-veterans, and Gen X and Z's and Gen whatevers. So it truly was a mix of America. And so, of course, I get hopeful and inspired, because we're so in need of an America that finds its moorings again, finds its balance, finds its foundation again. Well, we're around people that agree with us, and that feels good, but they're not the problem. They're not the ones that I need to convince of anything. It's everybody else. So the first thing I wanted to sort of get from you was, let's just ask, since you're kind of, I've been introducing to my audience, and hopefully they're becoming fans, and I'm hoping they're going to your podcast as well and getting your materials. But what did you feel? How did you feel the everything went as you kind of decompress? And what did you get out of it, good or bad, that maybe we can begin to explore as we go to fight for the freedoms of America again?
Yeah, man, it was amazing. I can't seem to get my video to catch up with my audio, so I
Okay.
think I'm just gonna turn the video off for a second so it's not too distracting, and I'll just talk to you.
Okay.
But I'm like you, man. I loved the mix of Americans that we had, the energy that was there in the small towns and the big towns, the desire to be a part of a solution, the just the acknowledgement. I think for so many people, the acknowledgement that they weren't the only ones thinking about those things or having that same idea or position that you would express during your bit or when I would express in mine. It was powerful, man. I'm telling you, people want this. They're hungry for this. And we just happen to be, positioned at the right time with the right message that, I've been saying the same kind of stuff for decades, but it's for such a time as this that our audiences would be growing and that we would have the opportunity to speak these truths to so many people. So I am thrilled. I thought it was fantastic. We had thousands of people by the end of our tour that we had a chance to touch. Hundreds, I think it was over 300 that signed up as Constitution coaches. And so just phenomenal harvest. And just think about that, man. That means now over 300 classes that will probably multiply into thousands of people that will be diving into the very things you and I were talking about. So super, super excited about it. I have to ask you, speaking of that last event and young and old, when you said that and they looked at you like you were insulting the old, and you went off on the bit about grandma's perfume. Was that the first time you did that, or is that previous material? Because I was bent over in the back, my stomach hurting from laughing so hard by the time you got done with that, and I don't remember ever hearing that bit before.
Yeah, no, I wish I could say I was that much of a genius, but that actually is a routine, an old routine from one of my older albums. I just haven't done it much, but it was something. It had to do with the whole. I think it had to do with terms like old and young and fat and just the whole idea of not even being able to use descriptive terms anymore for people. But yeah, I mean, it is a good bit. I got a lot of good material out there that I just rarely do because, as we discussed, I'm always working on the next album. So, and you got to see a lot of the new material that's being, of course, it starts with Corona and everything that happened with that. But a lot of the stuff that I've been really experimenting with to try to move into the next phase of my of my album and what it could look like and what I want to talk about. I want to talk about free speech. I want to talk about religious liberties. I want to talk about the idea of not being able to speak about truth and reality, instead have to live in fantasy as though it's real to appease people's agenda. And I just can't do it. And that's kind of what I'm here to kind of talk to you about, because I watch things in America, and I'm watching the school system specifically. We saw what happened in Virginia, that a governor race was turned on its head. Nobody saw that coming. And I think that was a direct result of the school system, the school board meetings where the parents came in and said, "Nope, we're on to you, and we're gonna hold your feet to the fire." And then more and more people throughout the country have gone in and said, you've got pornography in these books, and you have critical race theories being taught, and then they always say it's not being taught, and of course what they mean is nobody's sitting there and going, let's get Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility book, and let's read it to first graders, and they're not talking about critical race theory as far as the academic exploration of it, which is also a derivative of critical law theory, and you were a lawyer, so maybe you'd heard of that. But what is not happening is they're getting out the textbooks for adults and trying to teach first graders. That's true. What is worse happening is they're actually using the techniques of critical race theory as the way they're teaching kids. They're teaching white kids that they are oppressors. They're children. They're telling them that they need to discover if there's anybody that's a racist in their family. They are telling certain kids with certain melanin colors that they are special and unique, but they are oppressed, and that they need special help because they can't accomplish things because of systemic racism. And of course, critical race theory is a systemic ideology, that everything they see in the world, they see as systemically racism.
Yeah, they
That's
see
their
everything
ideology.
through the eyes of racism. That's right.
The eye of racism. So that is their systemic position, which is masqueraded by saying, well, it is. And if you even question it, it proves we're right. So they've created an unfalsifiable ideology. You can't, and then if you even are able to overcome some of that and get to logic and reason, they said, but no. Remember, those are white constructs from Greece, Greek logic and reason, and that is racist, and thus can be ignored because it's truth only from a white perspective. And there's other ways to find truth, some of which is through narratives, through my personal experience. And storytelling is equal or superior to absolute pure logic and reason. So when you no longer can even appeal to truth, logic, and reason, because we have mathematical formulas for logic to prove if something is true or not. It's a thousands of year old tradition of how humans have grown and matured, and how civilization has become more sophisticated by these techniques, which also is why math works. It's also why science works, because these principles simply work because they're true, and they're not white truth. They're truth. They're human truth. Nevertheless, this is where we're at. So I never tell you what I'm going to talk about or whatever, because I don't always know. But here's where I'm at. After we got back, I was grateful because I had a blast. Of course, I love you and your family. I love what you stand for. I was grateful you gave me a part of it in telling my side of the story through comedy. I certainly was inspired. I certainly was encouraged that there's lots and lots and lots of us out there that really see what's happening and want to do something about it. But Rick, it is so deep in our school systems that I really feel like something has to be done. And I mean desperate measures. Because if this is what is going to be taught from now on, and the brakes aren't put on, if this isn't destroyed immediately, and we just sort of let it become the norm, I'm telling you, as sure as I sit here, because everything on the internet is that's recorded lasts forever now. As soon as I sit here on May, whatever day it is, 2nd, 2022, if this doesn't stop, America's dead. We have lost. We are completely, utterly, and forever gone, because we have erased our history, and we've created a Marxist vision of America, which means we'll be taken over by China or Russia, or just some bastardized version of Marxism that Americans create. I don't know what it is. But I really have a sense of urgency and dread, and realize I can't just talk about this. I'm not doing anybody any good for me to sit there and explain these things to people. I need to find a way to go into every state, every governors, mayors, school boards. I don't know. I don't even know what to do. But it really hit me today that this is scorched earth time. I don't know what that means. It's just what hit me. I wanted to bring it up to you as my friend, and certainly a great counsel when it comes to the Constitution and America's history, and just get your take on what I just said. And if anything urgent like that is hitting you as we look at what's happening in America and where we're heading.
Yeah, and I think the good news, Brad, is that it's hitting millions of Americans. So we're not alone in feeling this way at all. I mean, I was in Washington State Saturday night, a big Lincoln Day dinner I was speaking at there in Clark County, Washington. This is not a super conservative area. It's a more conservative than the really blue part of Seattle. It's a little further south, Vancouver area. But even in the what would be considered conservative parts of Washington, they're typically not going to take on the tough issues. They're more, rhino Republican typically. Dude, I'm telling you, these people were livid over what you are talking about right now. They are motivated in a way I've never seen before. So where normally you and I are trying to quite frankly shake people out of their slumber, to literally shock them into realizing what the heck's going on in terms of this cultural Marxism, they are awake, man. They are well aware. They are tuned in. They're talking about it. They're showing up. They're running for office. They're doing all those things. Every candidate that spoke mentioned it in some way, shape, or form. I was shocked, man. I really was. I didn't expect that in Washington. I mean, I've been there a lot over the last year or so. But I was so encouraged. I'm telling you, I came home from that dinner going, wow. I mean, this may be an absolute tsunami. Now, what you and I both are aware of is a lot of times these movements, this happens, and people have a false hope in just electing a party. So they'll think, oh, if I put the Republicans in office, this will solve this. I think the scorched earth you're talking about is necessary. I think it has to be, not only do you put new people in office, you hold their feet to the fire like never before. And if they don't perform, you are all over them and you are harassing them, calling, writing. Immediately starting campaigns to get them out of there. You let them know this is not one that we're going to let you skate by on. And part of what I told the people in Washington, a lot of them are thinking, oh, I'm so sick of this that I'm going to move to Texas or Tennessee or Florida and get away from it because their schools don't have this. Folks, it's in every public school across the country. I don't know of a single public school. If you have one, I think you're probably fooled into thinking that your local public school is not doing it, because even in our hometown today, we find out in my little town of Dripping Springs, we've got a couple of horrific stories. I'm not even going to give details on that. If parents know about that, they're going to be like, I moved here from California hoping I would put my kids in a school that didn't do that nonsense. And they're doing it right here in Dripping Springs. So I told the people in Washington, I was like, you guys need to clean your own house first and not just hope you can move to a state and the schools are going to be better. Either you get your kids out and you start homeschooling right now and you fight for the public schools to get better, well, there is no or. I mean, that's it. You can't just expect to move to a state and the public school system be better. You nailed it. This is so deep in the education system that not just the public schools, a lot of the, quote, Christian private schools are teaching this nonsense. They have bought into the wokeism. You've got to be really, really attentive as a parent at this point. You've got, no matter where your kid is, you need to be diving into everything that they're doing. Washington, I talked to a legislator last night before I flew back home this morning, and I talked to a legislator at an event last night. She was telling me they almost got a bill passed. They couldn't get it passed, but I think they're probably going to take over in 2022, especially if we do a Comedy and Constitution tour across Washington. Then they will definitely take over in 2022. But the bill that she was trying to get passed simply said that all of the schools, all the public schools, have to make their curriculum available online for parents to go look at. I mean, why would you be against that? I mean, every parent should say yes to that and tell their legislator, if you vote against that, I'm voting you out. And that way, at least you have the transparency. That's one step towards it. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, but I think you're right. I think this is a tsunami issue for us. I'm still thanking Terry McAuliffe for the gift of saying that parents should not be able to weigh in on the education of their children, because that was a wake-up call for the people in Virginia. And Loudoun County, thank you, school board, for being so radically Marxist that the videos that of your insanity went viral and have awakened a nation. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a big one.
So how do we ensure that the votes are good?
Well, like we try to tell people at the Comedy and Constitution tour, there's been cheating in elections ever since there's been elections. And we have to recognize that there's no perfect system, that there's a ton of corruption right now, but there's always been some level of corruption. And there were times in the 1800s where it was almost as bad as what we're dealing with right now. So we can't. In fact, I was asked this last night at that event in Tacoma, Washington. They said, do you trust the election system? And the way that was asked, I had to say no. I don't trust I don't, it's the old Ronald Reagan thing, trust but verify. And if you can't verify, then you can't trust. And so until we get back to a place where there's a paper ballot that you can go do a recount and put your hands on every single ballot in the race, I don't know that I'll fully trust the election system. But that does not mean to check out. That does not mean to not vote. We still show up. We still vote. We still work that process, just like in Virginia, where they had all of the cheating mechanisms in place for the Democrats. But yet, because there were so many churches and so many organizations with boots on the ground watching every step of that. We were able to still win in those races in Virginia. And I think we can do the same thing in places like Washington State and other places across the country. So that's a mixed answer. I hate to sound like a politician there. I don't trust the system. I think there's still a ton of improvement that has to be done, but we have to still work the system while we work to fix the system.
Yes. So the Constitution coach situation was something that you created because you've been teaching on the Constitution for so many years. And of course, at Patriot Academy, you do that as well. But you just really felt like you needed to make this available to your average American who is ignorant of their rights, who's maybe ignorant as to where they come from or why they say what they say or what they mean. So this to be a Constitution coach, it's free. Yes. All you're doing is facilitating.
That's right.
This, and you will send them, sign up is there somewhere where they can sign up online, or how does it work?
Yeah, man, it's absolutely free, and it's exactly what you just described. It's so that any citizen anywhere, no matter what their background, can participate and be a catalyst. They can be the one in their neighborhood, in their family, in their church, in their community to start this process of rebuilding liberty by getting educated on these things. And when we say people are ignorant about this, look, we're all ignorant about something. Ignorance is just the state of mind that you're in before the euphoria of learning something new. It's not an insult. It's not we're not degrading people when we say that. I'm ignorant about a lot of things that I can go learn right now and solve my ignorance. The same for civics, man. We're civically and biblically ignorant as a nation right now. And that can be solved if we'll just dive into these principles and dive into these classes and learn these things. And as you know, Brad, I mean, you talk to people throughout the tour that are coaches and have been through the classes. People are so hopeful after they sign up and they take these classes because there's so much great information, so many truth bombs. I mean, it's like every week you're doing the class, it's just truth bomb after truth bomb after truth bomb that wipes away all these lies, wipes away all this guilt, wipes away all these distortions of and gives truth to people. And there's hope in that. And then there's action steps and things that they can actually do. So, man, I'm just encouraging your audience, sign up as Constitution coaches, absolutely free. Go to patriotacademy.com. You can sign up for free. We'll coach you, no pun intended, on being a coach. There's all the training's free. We have a Friday Coaches Corner luncheon you can dial into and listen to a bunch of other coaches and ask them questions. We have a closed Facebook group where you get in there with several thousand other coaches who are sharing pictures and comments from their classes or their attempts to have classes and what they learned the first time they did one or whatever. It's just a great community of patriots. It's a community of people that want to make a difference and want to learn the Constitution and you know, honestly feel guilty about the fact that we've enjoyed the blessings of liberty for so long and have done very little to preserve it. We haven't had to pay the price. Other people paid the price. And so we have this whole I think generation, millions of people, this window of opportunity for millions of people that want to be a part of the solution. And all we want to do is come alongside them, give them the ammunition they need and equip them and train them. And now intellectually they have that ammunition that they can go make a difference.
Yes. Well, when you are aware of your rights and so forth, at least you're not as easily deceived.
That's right.
Is there a way to, so we talked about involving ourselves in the school system. So I guess that might mean constant pressure on school boards to first off make curriculums available so the parents know what's going on. But you shouldn't even have to be a parent. I think if you're an American, you
Yes.
want to know what is being taught to the next generation that represents me and my country. And so we need to. I think it might even be more powerful to see 18-year-old, 19-year-olds who are not
Yes.
in high school, who are not married, who are not with kids, who come and say, we care too. So there
Yes.
has to be an uprising. There has to be, as we talked about, a militia of the mind that we're
Amen.
smart. We outsmart them. We outthink them. We outflank them. We out rhetoric them. We out philosophize them. We outnumber them. We outrule them. We everything, out expose them. I just, I don't know if is there a time you can think of in history where the fragility of the nation was in a balance that is of such weight as of now. Now, obviously, it's easy to go to Revolutionary War and go, there wasn't even a nation yet, so that certainly could have gone completely sideways, and Britain hung on and wiped everybody out and hung all the traitors, and that would have been that. So that's kind of an easy. But once the country existed, and we were known as a sovereign nation. And there was a constitution, so we knew what our rights were and what we should expect. Can you think of another time existentially? So I'm not talking about World War II or III, which was fascism overseas, even though it would have affected us.
Right.
But
Right.
internally, at home, can you think of a time that was this dangerous, that truly we could lose our country right in front of our eyes, and people like us will get put in jail without a trial? Look at January 6th, guys. I mean, this is like 2 seconds away from happening. This isn't like way in the future rhetoric or conspiracy theory stuff. So can you think of equate any other time in history that we could look at and look, oh, it was like that? That's where we're, maybe to let people know just how dangerous things are.
Yeah, the answer is no. I think the Revolutionary period is the only time where freedom on this continent, in this nation, was at stake. Because even in the Civil War, when you think about the Civil War, it was uglier, I guess, than what we're dealing with now. I mean, we're literally killing each other at that point. But regardless of the outcome, whether there would have become a North and a South separate countries, the freedom for non-slaves everywhere would have been pretty much the same in both of those countries, and freedom for blacks in the North would have been the same as everybody else. You still would have had slavery in the South, I think, for maybe not that much longer, but you would have had it for another generation probably. But in terms of basic ideas of constitutional governance and freedom of speech and all those things weren't what were on trial in the Civil War. I mean, now you're talking about the basic freedoms of a free society, more like at the Revolutionary, maybe even more so than the Revolutionary period, Brad, because as British citizens, you still had most of those things. I mean, there were property rights issues and things like that you didn't have quite as much freedom as we have here. But so maybe more than even at the Revolutionary period. But I think the short answer is definitely not in our lifetime, and definitely not since the Revolutionary period has freedom in the United States been so fragile and so at stake. And as we said throughout the Comedy and Constitution tour, we're teetering. I mean, we can go either way, liberty or tyranny right now, and it's the smallest things that can push us one way or the other, which means, as Ronald Reagan said, we don't live in pale and timid times. We live at a time where everything we do makes a difference. Every person watching right now could be the one that pushes us back into liberty, certainly in their particular community for sure. And I want to just jump on something you said earlier. Absolutely. The watching the school board, running for the school board should not just be parents with kids in those schools. I tell homeschool moms all the time, you're the best candidate for school board that there is, because you've run a school, you've done curriculum, you've done the principal, you've done discipline, you've had to do it all as a homeschool mom. Go run for the school board and take that experience into that local school, because you're a taxpayer in that area and you care just as much about what happens in your society. And the public school system is supposed to be to turn out good citizens. That's the whole reason you have it. 75-year-olds that have grandkids that may or may not be in the system, but you have all of those years of experience and wisdom to offer. Go run for school board, and certainly show up and testify school board. So you're right on. I hope people heard that, and that's why I want to emphasize it again. You don't have to just be a parent with a kid in the school to be a good candidate for school board or to go testify at a school board meeting. Keep the pressure on, and already there's a lot of places we could talk about where we've taken over the school boards. We're cleaning house. We're getting new superintendents. We're going through the curriculum page by page. I mean, it's happening. The hard work is beginning. It's going to take a long time to do this, and you're going to have people that are willing to give a little bit of their time. Maybe their only role is to review 5th grade math, or to review, 8th grade history in their particular school district. But there are groups forming right now all over the country at the local level to take on the large picture and assign just a small piece of that to individuals in the community, so everybody can play a role in this thing. And the reason I push the Constitution Coach program so much is because it creates a community where you've got 5 or 6 or 10 or maybe 500 that are coming into your class, either in your home or at your church, and you're watching these videos, you're getting fired up, but then after the videos, you're talking about it, and you're building a team that can then go testify together. We've got coach classes, Brad, where they have gone into local school districts, and the school put this 1-minute limit on everybody. And so what they did was they took like 15 people from the class. They wrote a 15-minute speech, and they each delivered 1 minute back to back so that they could get all the content in, right? So they went in as a team. Just stuff like that happening all over the nation right now.
That is amazing. I love that. That is America right there. Just
Yeah,
figuring out a back door. Conservatives and Christians are kind of used to trying to find those back doors because we've been shut out for so long.
that's right.
And then, like I said, with Elon Musk buying Twitter, and I like for the first time, like I joked, at the tour, it's like, conservatives can finally say, my billionaire can beat up your billionaire,
That's
because
right.
that's not that we haven't normally had that option. So that's exciting, and we have to believe ultimately my citizenship, my constitution, my rights, my freedoms are given to me by God, and I will spend my eternity in His presence, in His perfect kingdom. But He gave me America. I'm a citizen of the United States, so
That's right.
I'm responsible for this territory. I'm responsible for my Israel, my Judah, right? My area that is mine,
That's right.
and where my family, my lineage are from. So go to tell me again. Is it Patriot Academy to
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
Constitution?
They can just go to patriotacademy.com and then click on Constitution Coach. And again,
Okay.
free to sign up, free for your students to sign up. Everybody gets a digital workbook. It's we've made it super super easy for people to participate in this, and it's the reason it's taken off, man. 12,000 Constitution coaches right now. Hundreds of thousands have been through the class. Our goal is 5 million before the next presidential election. That's a game changer in a big way. So yeah, and Brad, I think people feel it. They feel this opportunity. They can feel the momentum that's out there. I think they get excited when they start talking to a neighbor or family member or whoever, and they realize that person's also hacked off and also realizes what's at stake. And so there's just kind of this, I don't know, everybody's starting to feed off of each other a little bit, and that's how movements happen, man. That's how they grow. And we could, I guess you and I are biased because of the tour. We really saw that in community after community with, like you said, old and young and every race you can imagine. And I mean, it was really cool to see. And I'm looking forward to doing more of those and picking some areas that are ripe for this. Like I said, we may do one in Washington State, go do a tour there, maybe Georgia. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the next one's going to be. But
Well, and
it's
if
going to
there's
be.
anybody out there that are watching me, a fan of mine or Rick's, that has a church or community that you think would want something like this, certainly reach out. We have ways of helping to supplement the financial area of it. So it's not like you're necessarily holding the bag for all that. You can certainly help, and if you have the means to help do that, so be it. It's an investment in freedom and in liberty. But anyways, it's more about the community wanting this, and churches and conservative groups saying we need this. Come educate us, come teach us, come inspire us, come support us, come fight with us. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. That's what this is all about. Everything that I ever thought I wanted to be, Rick, as a comic, has turned into something else. I've become something else because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I sell tickets, make money, and make people laugh. I mean, that's fine, but it doesn't last in the long run. If I can leave people with freedom, if I can leave my grandkids with the freedom and knowing, you know what, America is free. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. But it almost went away, and your grandfather was one of the guys that helped fight with that with millions of other Americans. That makes sense to me. That's the legacy I want to leave, and that's much more important to me than taking it easy and thinking that things are going to be the same magically. They're never going to be the same again. So we need to be aware that we are at war. But in the end, God wins every time. So, well, Rick, thanks again for coming on like you always do, man. Love it.
You bet, brother.
Everybody always loves you. We love asking you questions and whatnot. So we'll have you on as usual again down the road. But thanks, brother. And I'll look forward to our next adventure together.
All right, buddy. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
All right. You got it, buddy. All right. Well, can we head back to the other mic? Let's see. All
right, folks. Thank you. Sorry about that. Listen, I know. Everything was all haywire, and our lips didn't match, and we're still always fighting that, as you know.
Actually, no, it fixed itself like 5 minutes in.
It did fix
Yeah,
itself?
it was a connection issue on our end.
Oh.
For some reason, VMix had a hard time connecting to Facebook.
Okay.
I was trying to fix it, and I guess it just decided to work
Oh.
all of a sudden.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it fixed. Okay, well, that's nice. Am I frozen by any chance?
No, I can.
Okay, just
you're
thought
fine.
I'd say it must be from my end of it then. All right.
Oh, yeah, if you're still looking at the old...
Oh, I'm
yeah.
looking at VMix.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I turned that off. 'Cause we're not
Yeah, I got you. Okay, here, I'm back. All right, well, there, listen.
Yep.
I really appreciate you guys being here again. I know that, you know, Mondays started out as kind of fun and funny and silly, and I never want that not to be true. I always want us to have fun together. I want us to enjoy our time together and enjoy what we believe in. I certainly am always excited for people that like what I do and what I stand for, and my comedy. Of course, I like that, and it's humbling that people would enjoy that. But there's things happening in America, and it's just burdened my heart. And I care about these things. And, you know, if you are a fan of my comedy, you'll see everything I said in my comedy. I was talking about things that were happening in America that needed to be discussed. I've been doing this for years. The clip you saw at the beginning of this podcast about Merry Christmas and I miss God in America and this and that, that is a clip from 2003, folks. We're talking about, you know, whatever that is, 18, what is that, 2003?
2003, that's 19 years.
19 years ago. I asked my son Wyatt, because Wyatt likes math. Wyatt is a math-like man. He's a, what do they call math? Like
mathematician?
Yeah. But someone who likes math would be called a what? Nerd. That would be a nerd. Or
that's a beat around the bush here. That's exactly what it's called.
That's it. Well, and people often ask me, why don't you put Wyatt on camera? And I want to put Wyatt on camera. And I've debated it, and I've wanted to on numerous occasions. And Wyatt doesn't want to go on camera.
No,
now,
I would love to be on camera. If you could afford me.
Oh. Well, see, folks, this is what I want to give you and leave you with tonight. If you ever start a podcast, and let's just say you've been doing comedy a while and you have a little bit of a reputation and folks like you, and you got 6 albums and have done numerous types of event films, things along that line. So you have a little credibility. And let's say you have a son. Now, when I say son, I'm talking about something that didn't exist. That was simply, I don't even know what you call something that didn't exist. Not a memory, a fantasy, an illusion. And to think that from my loins, I could create somebody that would one day sit right there. You can't see him, I do. And he would joke, and he would mock, and he would ridicule his father, and he would almost like I'm the older father that took care of him, and I'm in a wheelchair and he's pushing me down a hill and knocking me over. That's what it feels like to me. It's almost like he's kicking the cane out of my hand. Why are you kicking my cane?
Well, let me just say that to all of you out there watching this, if you ever think that you'd want to do a podcast, let's say that maybe you've been in a few movies, you've done albums, you've been on camera, you know what it's like. And you've even been funny a few times. But despite knowing all that, you still decide that the best comedy you can think of is loins instead of anything people actually care about, then you might want to try something a bit more... Oh, what would be a good word to finish that sentence?
I don't think there is anything that can be done that would be more creative.
I think you know what the word is.
I don't.
Listen, I'm putting you on the spotlight. I know you're not used to this, but finish my joke for me, please.
Okay. What my son is trying to get at is this. He is humbled by his father. He is in awe of his dad. And when he tries to joke and have fun with me, he does it with hesitation, with concern, with flatulence. I should tell you that.
I'm sorry. You
Lots
have
of
to
flatulence.
Speak up,
you don't hear it
all I can
he doesn't
hear
get his
from
own
you
mic.
is blah, 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 blah from my loins. I'm sorry. That's just all I can hear.
What is wrong with my loins?
The fact that you keep bringing them up.
Wyatt?
Listen. If you've got a car and you start talking about the engine like every 5 seconds, I'm gonna think there's something wrong with it, even if you never say it, because no sane person constantly absolutely, without fail, constantly brings up things that are perfectly fine.
Well, my loins are perfectly fine, and
Stop talking about them.
okay. Well, apparently my son simply is ashamed of where he came from, and
I'm just ashamed that out of all the times you've had the conversation, you haven't thought of a funnier word than loins. Now, do not get me wrong. Loins is hilarious. But is it the most hilarious?
think of it like pork loins. That's funny.
I guess.
Beef loins. Are there beef loins? Lamb loins? How about lamb loins?
When it comes to food, anything's possible if you're brave enough.
Wyatt? Tenderloins.
Okay, that's a good one.
So I think what I'm getting at, my friends, my family, my fellow fans, is I had tenderloins, and they created Wyatt, and that's why we.
Why doesn't that sound better? Why does it not sound better at all?
So, I tried to lighten it up, the loin mood.
We need to workshop something better than that. Like, I don't.
Well, anyway.
Audience help.
Well,
Send help.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I'm proud of my son, but he, I don't think, realizes what's at stake sometimes in America. Like you heard my talk with Rick. Do you ever feel like your generation is going to miss out on America?
I hate to admit it, but yeah, it's definitely not looking good.
Okay, and what is the part about your age group, you're 25, that you think are where they most have serious problematic issues?
My generation has fallen for this two-party system nonsense, hook, line, and single.
Okay.
There is no way to have a discussion with the opposing viewpoint.
Okay. Right.
Because they are the enemy.
Nice.
And there is no caveats to it.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's exactly what I was talking about critical race theory. They've created a scenario where there is no possibility of dialogue, because dialogue allows both people to be given equal respect, equal dignity, and equal access to deliver the information so that we can objectively observe it and try to run it through the filter of truth and reality. And whatever comes out of that, we have to adjust ourselves to, even if it means we have to edit our own point of view and our own ideology, philosophy, political persuasion, whatnot, to the truth. We have to have an ultimate rule maker, ultimate rule book that tells us who we are and where we're going and how we got here and how we can keep it and how we can lose it. And that is exactly what I think my son has said. He's proven my point. He's much older. I mean, they're teaching now 5-year-olds that they're oppressed and oppressors and that they need to step back and that there's certain people with certain skin colors that are less or more. It's so racist and bigoted and cancerous and bile-filled, evil and dark. And it's now become de rigueur in teaching children in the United States. So when I talk about America and our school system is in pure jeopardy, because let's face it, they take the generation and we're all gone. They become wards of the state and literally fight for and die for it, thinking they've done something virtuous. Folks, this isn't the happiest podcast we've done. It's not the way I necessarily wanted to come back live and be with you guys after 3 weeks in Texas. I was inspired, but I just realized this is where my life's going. This is where my career is going. I have to fight and fight, but go beyond just podcast speaking things that many of you already agree with. Go beyond speaking of Christ and the one time in human history God actually truly proved himself. So you know what the rules are based on what the actual truth of God is. I know all that's true. That's what I fight for. That's what I'm going to do. But I need to go out into the marketplace. I need to go into these markets like Oregon and Washington and California. I need to go into New England and I need to go up into Minnesota and places that are blue and being destroyed and help. And I'm just one guy. I'm just a comic. but I feel like I got to their. It's America. I need to go help them. It's part of the body of Americana, and they're sick and they're atrophy, and I want to help. And I don't know if you guys do too. If you think that that's something that matters, that to go out into the marketplace, guys like Rick and I go into these conferences, speaking, bringing laughter, insight, wisdom, defending, giving people marching orders, teaching them how to prepare themselves to fight for our freedoms, our Constitution, fight against Marxist ideology into the school boards, take back America. If that's what you believe, then help us do that. You can give. I am a nonprofit, and this is a nonprofit that wants to go in and fight back for America. And if I get funding to be able to take this podcast and then move it out into the live events, and be able to do it without having to charge a church or certain groups that don't have the money, but they're wanting to fight in their community or bring it or into their school board. You can help. Just say, I want to give. How do I do it? We'll send you a link. It's a 501c3. You'll get a tax deductible write-off at the end of the year. But it will allow me to have some funds to help me go places and see things and do things for this fight in areas where people just don't have the money or the means to do it. So it's just Americans fighting together. You don't have to give. I'm just making it available in case there's something that says, yeah, I wanted to know how to fight for America. This is an easy way. It's somebody that's out there doing got the sword and the shields out fighting. And all I'm doing is supporting him and bringing him ammunition by helping them. Let me know. We'll give you a link. You just click on it, give, and boom, it's that good. You can do it on a monthly basis if you want. I think what I'm going to probably need to try to shoot for is 10, 15, 20,000 people over time that give something reasonable, $3, $5 a month, something that's anybody can do, but just get the numbers up, because that way I can be working all the time and really out there speaking these truths in churches for a whole weekend. Men only on Friday night, Saturday comedy plus these truths, Sunday service, talking about what's happening in America, what it means to be a Christian, as opposed to political correct Marxism, which is the antithesis of Christianity, and speak about these truths about America and how to fight. This is where I'm going. You guys watched it happen from the first time I picked up my laptop on Facebook to this podcast, this far down the road with a big mic and a big earphones and a camera that you guys donated and made happen so I could do this because I was called to and I didn't know how to do it. But here we are, here we sit. So if you feel called to help fight this fight and want to do it, please just become a member of I'm going to have a new group. I think I came up with Awakened Warriors. Come to find out, JP Sears has that on his website. So it's like I didn't take it from him. I thought I made it up. I thought maybe he took it from me. But anyways, he's got it. I don't. But I do have a new one that came in during the tour of Texas. Militia of the mind. So be with me, be part of the militia of the mind, people that outthink, outrun, outphilosophize, and simply outmaneuver, outwork, outgive, outspend, outsource everything we can. This is a civil war fight for the freedoms and liberties of America for the next generation. This is what my calling is. This is what my ministry has become. I didn't realize it, but it's so clear to me now. As I've told you on camera many times, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I just thought I was going to be a comic. And now it's just becoming clear this is what my battle is. And of course, it's all undergirded by the true foundation, which is my faith in Christ. I believe he is in fact God and really revealed it as an actual historical figure that proved through miracles and his death and resurrection that God is real and really proved it. So this is who I am. This is where I'm going. And you can be part of it. I will be here next Monday night, 7 o'clock, and we'll continue to try to bring on interesting guests and try to, again, fix some of the glitches that we still have. But thank you for being here. It always humbles me. Please share this. Send it to every friend you have. Let's blow this thing up. Let's see if this can be something that can actually feed the world. I mean, I do get people from Australia and Ireland and other places that watch too. You guys are part of this too, even though you're not Americans. If I'm encouraging you, inspiring you for something that can somehow fit in your land, I'm grateful for that as well. But I'm fighting for the land I was born in and for the faith that I know is true. So God bless you, folks. Thank you for coming. And I will see you next Monday on Brad Stine Has Issues. And Wyatt, thank you, son.
No problem.
For issuing from my loins. Goodbye, folks.
Cool. That's a good show.
Yeah.